No. If you spend any time scrolling through videos surrounding video games on YouTube, you've surely come across a thumbnail like this, and if you haven't, goddamn, I wish I was you. 4 panes of spoilers surrounding one mega spoiler in the center. These piss everyone, including me, off to no end. Say you were playing through Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and you wanted to look up a guide on how to obtain a specific item. So you look it up on YouTube and then boom, final boss on display, no holds barred, deal with it. Even worse, games nowadays have a tendency to leak out a day or two before release, sometimes even longer before that. Or alternatively, people able to play the Australian version of a game a day before the rest of the world because time zones post videos. So even if you just went to watch a trailer or something, you could have a chance of being spoiled. I'm not saying you shouldn't make videos like these, period, but at least have the courtesy to not do the thumbnail thing. In short, everyone hates these. That should be fairly obvious at this point. Which begs the question, what is going on in the pink lump contained in the skulls of these creators that makes them do this? Well, there's a few factors, I think. For one, spoilers tend to drive engagement. Some YouTubers, for example, are notorious for putting spoilers in their thumbnails, and while people might come to that channel to criticize it, that's still more views and engagement heading towards that channel, leading to the algorithm recommending it more. Not to mention, the final bosses of games are often grandiose, colorful, or eye-catching, which might lead to a few more clicks. Maybe this would be less of a problem if Bowser was a square with eye holes. Okay, so that explains that part, but how do we make the thumbnails better? Here I have the thumbnail for a video showcasing all the bosses in Breath of the Wild, which conveniently features a screen cap of the final boss front and center, spoiling its appearance for anyone working their way through the game while scrolling YouTube. This is a common practice in the majority of these types of videos, at least that I've seen, likely in part due to the eye-catching bit I mentioned before. Let's fix this up. I think the best possible option for the witnesses of the thumbnail would be to discard showing any bosses, but I know that's pretty unrealistic and probably wouldn't do a good job of conveying what the video is. So here's what we're gonna do. Breath of the Wild lets you tackle the bosses in any order you please, but I think most people's first boss fight is Water Blight Ganon, so I'm gonna make that the focal point instead of the final boss. From there, we can put some of the other bosses behind it with a slight blur effect so as to not completely spoil their appearance, and then I'll put the silhouette of the final boss in the background. It'll also be partially obscured by the other bosses, so you won't even be able to tell its complete shape. Finally, pop some logos and text in there to make it clear what the hell it is I'm looking at, and then boom, you got yourself one slightly better thumbnail. Lastly, if you're like me and don't want to put up with the bullshit thumbnails driven by YouTube's wonderful algorithm, boy do I have a small handful of solutions for you. Number 1. Use a browser extension. There are several browser extensions designed to block specific words, channels, videos, etc. The problem with this is these seem to be hit or miss. From what I've heard, these extensions tend to be a bit spotty in terms of blocking every use of a phrase. I imagine it works most of the time, but just be mindful. Also, some sites like Twitter have built-in functions that let you mute specific words or phrases, so take advantage of that. Please. Number 2. Like I mentioned before, YouTube's algorithm likes to shove the spoilery stuff down your throat, so you know what you should do? Deny it. Hit the dots on a video related to something you don't want spoilers on, say you don't give a f***, and congratulations, the algorithm is now slightly less likely to recommend you videos related to that topic. You can also do this with entire channels, so if you don't want to see a specific channel you know posts spoilers consistently, yoink. Numero 3. Stay out of it. Sometimes even when taking spoiler-free measures, there's still a chance you could still be spoiled. So if a new game you're interested in is coming out, try to exercise some restraint. Stay off of Twitter and don't read comment sections, you'll be fine. Okay, you know what? To hell with it. Delete every social media account, punt your Wi-Fi router out your friendly neighborhood 7th story window. Just stop playing video games, okay? You can't be spoiled if there's nothing to be spoiled on. I myself have had a few bosses and similar elements spoiled for me before, but I wouldn't say it's entirely hindered my experience. At the end of the day, video games are supposed to be fun after all, and I think most often you can still enjoy something for what it is, even if the surprise got ruined for you. However, people who willingly make thumbnails like this, please stop. I beg you. I know you know you're doing it. Okay, you don't just slip and fall in your copy of Photoshop and make it spit this out. And even if you do, then I commend you. That is really impressive. Anyway, I'm off to my spoiler-free bunker where no one, not a soul, can spoil me on anything ever. No!